I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Ramblin' Man Podcast, episode number 38. This one is with Saray Taylor-Roman, Jasmine Newton, and Shawn Poynter, and it's on portraiture photography. This one was kind of tough because I have a ton of very talented friends who work in portraiture. So it was hard distilling down to just 3 people to be on the episode. But I know that Saray and Jasmine have a great working relationship and friendship, so I knew that the dynamic would be really good between the 4 of us. If you'd like to find any of their work online, for Saray, it's taylorroman.com. TaylorRoman.com. For Jasmine, it's Javon Renee Portraits. For Jasmine, it's Javon Renee Portraits at javonreneeportraits.com. JAVONRENEEPORTRAITS.com. And for Shawn, it's Poynter Photo Co. POYNTERPHOTOCO.com. And I have it on good authority that Shawn is about to do a rebrand and a relaunch of his website. Guess who's back again? Feral Giant is back as a sponsor of this episode. Feral Giant is a graphic design, illustration, social media consultation company. They're a collection of brand developers, designers, illustrators, photographers, videographers, social media strategists, writers, digital marketers, and website designers, even podcasters. They'll even babysit your kid if need be. They've worked with nonprofits, major corporations, and small brands. Find them online at feralgiant.com or on any social media at /feralgiant. We thank Feral Giant for sponsoring this episode. Without much further ado, here's the episode. I always love the intros because it's super awkward. I don't know how to start.
You kind of should have.
Nope, there we go. That's a good one. Like the last one, it started with us talking about Game of Thrones because I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's hard.
I haven't either.
I'm waiting on it to be over.
There's something wrong with y'all.
No, I want to watch all of them at once. I can't keep up with all the characters. I'm done.
I won't. So.
I don't.
I
do
love
want
Game
to
of
watch it.
Live a little.
There's one clip where the lady speaks a different language and they think that she doesn't speak the language, and then she calls her dragon and he kills her. That's super awesome, but I don't really. It still doesn't make me watch it. Feel like watching it.
I didn't think I didn't watch it until they were already about 4 or 5 seasons in, and I wasn't interested because I usually don't like medieval stuff like that.
Yeah.
But once I got into it, like I'd say like it took me maybe like 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, I can't stop watching.
Well, I'm afraid I won't remember all the characters' names because there's like a year and a half between. So when it was done with
Yeah, it
like
don't matter.
season,
It's like Dragon Lady.
Yeah.
It's like one arm, you know.
The Evil Queen.
Yeah, you don't need to know names.
oh my
Let's
god,
give it a shot, man.
The only
Take a
name that I
chance.
always remember is Jon Snow because
Jon
it said
Snow.
so much. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Well, I have a friend, Jason Snow, and so he works for WordPress, and he constantly gets stuff like, you know nothing, Jason Snow, constantly. Now, once it's over, my buddy Gary's trying to get. It's like, no, I made that mistake with Breaking Bad. I caught up on like seasons 1 and 2. And then when I started having to watch week to week, I was like, "This sucks."
But if you start,
Oh,
if you
I
start
did-
right now, by
yeah.
the time you finish the first 8 seasons, then the last one's gonna be done.
Yeah,
Done,
that's
yeah.
possible. That's true.
You watch it with everybody. You can time it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are all smart options, but I'm not a smart man, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of a very poor segue.
Are we going? Are we?
Oh yeah, we're going.
Oh, okay.
This is how it starts. Like it's just weird. Like
So, what are we talking about, Jody?
So who are we?
that's too formal. That's too formal. Yeah, this one, since we have 4 people, we should probably intro everybody.
Yeah.
That would be smart. I usually intro people in the beginning, but that'd probably be good. So I'm going to point, which makes for good podcasting. Everybody knows who I am. They don't need to know who I am. Okay.
So I'm Saray Taylor-Roman, and I am a portrait photographer here in Knoxville. Do I have to say anything else?
Nope.
I'm Jasmine Newton, and I am a portrait photographer here in Knoxville as well.
I'm Shawn Poynter. I'm an editorial photographer in town who wants to know more about portraiture. So
He's a student.
here to learn,
Oh, pretty cool.
here to soak it in.
Outnumbered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, your work's very editorial too, very
I
fashion.
keep getting that, and that's the thing. You trying to get to a certain thing, and people keep saying that you're a certain other thing. You're like, yeah, I guess I'll just take it. So
It's very consistent and it's beautiful.
I guess when I started, I never really thought that I would be doing that type of work. So it's hard for me to sit in it and be like, yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Because it's like what I had in mind was totally different than what I'm doing.
So what got you into photography? Look at
You
that
should ask
segue.
Sarai that
Look
question.
at that segue. Ooh.
Because my story is, her story is really good. Mine is just like, that's what
Oh
happened.
no.
So like I lost a job and
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
and my friend, I had 2 friends who were already doing photography mostly as a hobby, and they were getting ready to start trying to transition into doing it for a business. And so I'm sitting there because I was just lost my customer service job, and customer service is all that I have ever done since age 14. And so they were just like, why don't you start a photography business? And I'm just like, I don't know anything about photography, and I don't know anything about why would you think I could do that? So they were like, oh, it's easy. You just, you use your camera. I had a camera because I was making YouTube videos. And so they were like,
We're gonna stick a pin in that. I want to hear about these YouTube.
They were like, you make really nice thumbnail photos for your YouTube videos, so you should start a photography business. And I was like, y'all are crazy, and I laughed it off. And then but the idea was like, maybe.
Oh my God.
And I had this really ignorant idea that all I have to do is take pictures, post it online, and people will come running.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
not.
Tom. Wait, that's not. Wait, hold on.
That's
Wait.
his entire marketing
Yeah,
strategy.
Yeah, I paid a lot for that advice.
So I got into it by just it kind of falling into my lap by somebody telling me I should do it. And it turned into something, the more and more I did it, that was just like, yeah, I definitely want to do this until I kick the bucket. And it's kind of funny because when I was a kid, you know how everybody's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I had like a long list. There was like the stuff that was like priority. Like I wanted to be a singer and an actress. That was at the top. And the photographer was always towards the end of the list.
Oh my God.
So
Who was it that made you want to be a singer and actress?
Aaliyah.
Okay.
Aaliyah and Whitney Houston.
I was going to say Whitney
course.
Houston.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because you go for the best. Like just the top tier.
Aaliyah was a lot. Whitney Houston just had that voice.
Yeah.
That voice that you try to aspire to.
Yeah.
And then Aaliyah had the style of music that I liked. And also I was a tomboy. So when she came out with the baggy jeans and everything, I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. Cause I have 6 brothers. I wasn't interested in trying to look cute and sexy and shake my bootylicious and all of that. I wasn't trying to do all of that. So Aaliyah was a perfect idol.
Marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Now, where you started taking photographs when you were really young?
I was about 13 when I had my first camera. But like it was like pictures of landscapes and animals, mainly cats, my cats. But it was, and then in college I took a couple of courses in photography. That's where I realized that I really liked portrait.
Okay.
But then when I was asking my professors, and I said, how come some portraits are like you can almost speak to the person in that picture, like they're talking to you and have so much presence, and some don't. And the answer that I got from one of them was, well, some people are more photogenic than others.
Nice.
And so that was pretty bad. So that's when I put my camera down, because I was like, that's not fair. If I cannot give everybody a good picture, then this is not something I want to do.
Right.
And it brought back memories of when I was a kid. I don't know, what's the time when you lose your teeth, your baby teeth?
Like 15.
Maybe something like that. So
He's from Kentucky. It could be, wait, I still have my baby teeth. What are you talking about?
right. So I don't know.
Yeah,
so it was
preteen kind of, not preteen.
No,
It's
I
like
think
5 or
it's
6 probably, right? I
like
would
6
imagine.
or 7 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't have
Because
kids.
because my kid is 5, but she hasn't lost them. But I think she's gonna lose them soon.
Yeah.
So
Adolescence.
I think it's like 2nd grade. That's my.
Yeah.
yeah,
that's 7,
I think I was in
right?
2nd grade, 7.
Okay,
yeah.
I think 7.
So I was about 7, and so this guy went door by door knocking on family, and he says, "When was the last time you had a picture done for your family?" And my parents were like, "Well, it's been years." So he's like, "Well, I can come tomorrow, and I can do a family portrait of you guys." So my parents said, "Sure." So the following day, my mom, put us in a dress. She did my hair and everything. And I go first because I'm the oldest. So my parents are like, you go first. So I went first. And the guy's obviously having trouble. I don't know if it was the time of the day, which was around noon, and we were outdoors, or he just didn't like my no teeth smile. And he, but I can sense that in him. So he's not saying anything. He's just taking pictures. And so then my sister comes along, and she's the youngest, and she's super cute, right? And she's like, oh, the cute one of the family's here now.
Oof.
So that, I didn't realize what an impact that had in me.
Yeah.
Because when I look back at family pictures, leading up to that point, I'm in so many pictures. And then once that happens, if I'm in a picture, I'm on the back, I'm hiding.
Whoa.
And I'm not in any pictures like starring in them until on my wedding day.
Oh, wow.
And only because I had to, because it's my wedding and I'm the bride. I should be in the pictures, right? And so
Traditionally. Yeah.
right. And so so that really affected me. And so when this professor said that, and I was like, you know what? I will not do this to anybody. I cannot do this to anybody.
Yeah.
And so, like, fast forward about 5-6 years after that, and I met this person. She's my mentor. Her name is Sue Bryce, and she said, it's not a client's responsibility to be photogenic or to know how to look good in camera. It's our job as photographers, and I can show you how to direct somebody so that they look their best, so that they love their pictures they see. And I was just like, this is what I wanted to do all my life. And so I started working on their hair. At the time, I was a high school Spanish teacher. And so I hadn't picked up a camera in like 6-7 years. And I was like, let's me give this a try. And so I did for a whole 2 years. I built a portfolio. And then I was finally able to let go of my teaching career. But
What were you shooting those 2 years? Were you shooting portraiture? Or
I was shooting portrait. So it was like anybody who would let me photograph them.
Okay.
I would say, you know what? I do not want to be paid. I don't need to be paid because I have a job. I just want to get back into doing this, and I want to be able to know my camera like the back of my hand, so I don't have to think about it. So I'm like, whatever. Was it a birthday? Was it like family? Was it kids? It didn't matter. I photographed everybody.
Okay.
And people paid me in like Starbucks or Panera gift cards.
That's pretty good, actually.
Told you
Yeah.
she had a good story.
but that's how, and and for me, that's why I do what I do. Like, I want to give everybody a beautiful image. I want them to have no excuse and say, oh, I'm not the photogenic. I don't have, I want people to exist in pictures, and I want to show them how beautiful they are now.
Okay. Yeah. I'm the impossible client. I hate pictures of me. I would never, no.
That's 90% of my clients.
Really?
Yeah, like most of them will say, I'd rather get a root canal than have my picture taken.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see Jody in like one of your photos. I want to see you photograph him like you
I
photograph.
would love to photograph. You know what
everyone
I would
else.
do?
It'd be great.
I would put like flowers throughout his beard.
Oh my God!
You're not making this any better.
Oh my God!
On the moment.
Right?
We gotta do it.
This is worse, getting worse
Yeah,
on
I'm
the moment.
gonna do a Kickstarter.
Because every year around Christmas time, people hit me up with the beard ornaments and stuff.
Oh,
I'm like, no.
Well, we can do one with and without. There you go. One for me and
Yeah.
one for you.
Oh my
one,
God.
one for the world and one for Jody.
Yes.
One for the world and
That's
one for
good.
Jody.
That's really gosh.
That's the name of my novel. One
Yeah.
for the world and one for Jody.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay. So,
I want to go back to something Jasmine said earlier about coming from customer service. I think it's more important to be like a customer service minded person
Yes.
than a good photographer.
Yes.
Initially, at least, because you can learn photography, but like having a customer service background, like, I wish I had that. That'd make it so much easier. I feel like,
To answer the phone calls.
Yeah, or in emails and like just dealing with the back end and the customer
I never
experience.
thought about it that way. That's why
Oh,
phone
yeah.
calls don't bother me.
I think that's totally true.
Like it's because that's all I did.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's lucky, I think.
I agree.
Cool.
I think in that vein, when I worked at PetSafe, we used to work with Charlie Brooks a lot here in town, and he works. I just see if we can get a studio tour during the Tuesdays together. Because he's in an old church in Fourth and Gill, like it's insane. He would. I'm gonna write that down as a note. Charlie would probably do that. But he always fascinated with me in that vein of like, for me, it's more less losing your cool in stressful situations. So I feel like coming from that background, you have to deal with people being angry at you. So and you can't yell at them. So like that's what I saw with him. Like we would have kids and pets in the product photography and having to get product just right. And he never would lose his cool. He'd be like, nope. We'll figure it out. Like
It's back when Quaaludes were legal, probably. I mean,
this is very diplomatic.
tools of the trade.
Oh my God, you idiot! I'm regretting all of this. But I think that also is another aspect of being able to kind of maintain cool
Yes.
during those stressful moments. So,
I would say that I'm good at maintaining my cool. Probably too good at it because I don't deal with conflict well. When I have conflict, like I can deal with everybody else's conflict. I could tell you, okay, this is what you did wrong. This is how you need to fix it. I can deal with all of that. But when there's somebody that has an issue with me or has something that needs to be settled with me, if they seem like they are wanting to yell or scream or anything extreme with me, I do not want to deal with it. Like I'm like, oh no, I don't want to. I will deal with it, but you almost have to put me in a corner to where I can't get out and I have to deal with it.
yeah. Oh my God, that
So
sounds really familiar. Yeah,
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
but as far as like just simple resolution and
Right.
being calm and understanding that when somebody's upset, it's not about you, it's about what they're upset with. Yeah, I got that like the back of my hand.
yeah. I think sometimes it's almost the same thing. What is it? Somebody made the comment, said you're thinking about you 100% of the time and other people are thinking about you 0% of the time. So like if you're trying to take a photo and they're going a little nuts, well, you're in your own head freaking out about I have to get the shot, all this. So you're both in your own little world. Whereas I think Charlie did a good job of like being more empathetic to that. Like, okay, we will get the shot no matter what. We'll get the shot, but let's calm them down first.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think about a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being at a conference and one of the presenters said, we are 90% psychologists and 10% photographers, because it's really about getting to know the person you're photographing, at least in portrait. You know, if you really want to get that portrait that speaks to you, you need to get to know them, get to put them at ease, and it's always about them. It's not about you. Yes, it's my vision and everything, but at the end of the day, it's about them.
Okay.
It's a huge compliment when I get someone and they're like, I feel like you really captured who I am that everybody doesn't get to see, and like you got to the core of that. Like, it's like, okay, I did my job, but I feel like everybody isn't used to what I have to do to get there, to understand that. Like,
Right.
you can't just call me up and be like, hey, I want to take a picture. And I'm like, okay, see you tomorrow. We'll take that picture tomorrow.
It'll take
like,
5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I tell them, we have to meet and we have to talk. And I ask them not just, how they want to look and everything, but like some really deep questions that they're like, oh my God, well, this is so personal. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it's a personal thing for me to sit here and take your picture, and I have to pull that out of you, and that needs to come across in the picture. So yeah, we got to get personal. And I think that kind of, people don't expect that.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it's, oh God, here will be showing a little bit of age. If it's the Sears portraiture world that has kind of ruined that, because they're used to being like, oh no, you just go to Sears, you book an appointment for 30 minutes and you're in and out and done. So most people's brains, that's what they're thinking.
If you want a photo that looks like anybody else's and it's the same across the board, like the cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Like if you want the cookie cutter that's like the gingerbread man, and it's like everybody's got the gingerbread man, and your cookie is good. It's a good cookie, but everybody's got a gingerbread man. Everybody's got that cutter. But if you want like the octopus cutter and the unicorn and like with the really awesome design,
and sprinkles, don't forget sprinkles.
Get your scalpel out.
like you have to go through the extra process to get that.
Exactly.
Without giving too much away of your bite process, can you like say a little more about what you like, how you prep somebody? Or I don't want to get into like your details, professional details.
In that, do you have like set questions you ask, or is it more just sitting and
that's very interesting to me.
With
I try to have set questions, but it never goes the way I want it to go.
Yeah.
Because we get off on tangents, and then it's to the point where everybody usually says, "Gosh, I feel like I just had a therapy session."
Yeah.
Like it's that type of talk. And and I also think it depends on the person, because there are some people who really just want to get their photos done. That's usually the branding photos.
Or like a lawyer.
Right. Like they're just like, hey, I just need this. I need that. This is for my website. Get it done. And sometimes I have people, even for branding, they want to get a little deeper because they like that I want to talk to them about their brand and how they want to be seen and perceived and all of that. But my favorite types of photos are the personal portraits, because then I get to say, why are you wanting to do this? And when they have to like stop and go, oh, why do I want to do this? Like, because the obvious answer is I just want to take a picture, but why?
Right.
What are you going to do with this? What is the thought process behind it? What do you want to do with this photo after it's taken? Are you going to hang it up? Is it for your children to see? Is it for your grandchildren? What about your great grandchildren? Like, when I think about the pictures that I have taken so far, I think about them so much more different than I did before I became a photographer. Like before, it was just like, okay, I'll take a selfie, take a picture, whatever, I look cute in this picture, But now I'm looking at it in such more of a deeper level. Not only am I looking at it like this is something that my son can look back on and be like, man, my mom was a badass. Like, or my grandchildren, whoever they may be looking for something inside themselves to see who they want to become, and they may see that in me, because that's what I got from my great grandmother's picture. I did not like myself for a long period of time, and I saw her photo, and it was like, oh, I come from really good people. I actually am somebody. Like, it was just something I saw in that photo that just helped me through that. And then another reason is because when I get older, I can look back on those photos and go,
Right.
man, I remember what I was going through.
Yeah.
I looked good in that picture, but I remember what I was going through, and you can see that in my eyes, or you can think about what you fought through and struggled through and also overcame. So it's so many reasons.
Okay.
Did I get too deep?
No.
No, that's really interesting. That's
So-
good. I think that's all true too.
when I'm talking to them, I'm talking to them about why they want to do it. I mean, the main things is, what do you want to wear? How do you want your hair and makeup? You know, what do you want this to feel like? You know, how can we customize this to take photos that you want to be proud of for a very, very long time? But we get off into a lot of tangents that go so much deeper than that. And that's where I think I pull that essence from, that I shoot. Or that didn't sound great, that I photograph.
That you snap.
I'm sitting here taking notes of things to come back around, and I almost wrote shooting kids.
Wow.
But I realized it's like, nope, I'm going to put photos of kids.
Right.
Because
Right.
Somebody's gonna read that notes
Yeah,
later.
like, what the hell?
In your
That's
subpoena.
where he went bad, right there, when he started making notes.
I think all that stuff points to also why, like, you should. For me, I think that it's important to. I don't do it enough, but to make prints. You know, because the digital stuff is gonna, at some point, be it's gonna be gone. I fear, right? Like, your hard drive's gonna fail. We're gonna change formats from JPEGs won't work anymore. What in 50 years, who knows what's gonna happen, right? So,
Right.
Or
but
we
a
talk
print-
about like
Floppy disks,
on-
and now they don't even have a USB port.
No.
we
Which
talk
is
about,
infuriating, but-
these
Yeah.
things. You have
He's holding a cell phone.
4,000
Readers.
4,000 photos of the same thing over and over and over again. And do you does something important like a portrait from you get lost in the shuffle among here's 5 different photos of the hamburger I ate yesterday?
Well,
I'm
I just
speaking from my own
like
my own photo roll.
I just fear that, like, for example,
No,
like your
there's no
grandmother, like, I mean, if we have, like, I know there's a drawer at my mom's house where I can go there and pull out all these old pictures, and I know where all my whole family history lives, right? It's one drawer or 2 drawers, but that's gonna be lost. Like, our generation, that doesn't exist anymore.
Or
'cause you're-
old school photo albums. My grandmother.
photo
Oh, I
albums.
love going through those.
Yeah.
I love going through those.
So
Even
if
the
it
smell
isn't
of them.
print, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be here in 50 years, probably.
Do you all know Thompson Photo here in town?
Yeah.
They used to be huge, and they were the go-to photo people here in town. Well, it was 2 brothers, and they're a big reason why the Smoky Mountains are a park, because they were, what do you call it, naturalists, conservationists, to where they were the ones pushing for that. But my grandmother, when she moved down from Kentucky, she worked processing photos for Thompson Photo, and they would this was right before World War II, they would let the girls, the younger women who worked there, go stay in their cabin for like a weekend. So there are all these photos in old photo albums that the Thompsons took. Like, they're historic Knoxville photos of all these people who came here. And there's part of me, it's like, I kind of want to take those to the McClung or something, but I kind of also want to keep those because they're family heirlooms. But to your point, will kids 3 generations from now think about it that way?
I think it's gonna be a lost generation once we get all digital. I mean, it's gonna disappear.
I think once you hit a certain age, prints start getting important to you.
I hope you're right.
Because you realize, I mean, unless they come out with some type of technology that really makes it obsolete and you can keep it like you keep prints and you're not worried about hard drives going down and things like that, I think that there is always a certain age where you want to get out a good old book or make a good old wall gallery and actually have prints. And there is something about prints. Listen, I enjoy a good digital. I can send it, I can share it, I can like it, I can do all of that, right? But it is just something about seeing a portrait, especially one of Saray's portraits. Like, she has these huge portraits in her studio, and it's like, I've seen these plenty of times on Facebook.
Right.
But when I come in here, and this is not the first time I've seen these pictures in print. I come to her studio all the time, and I stand there and I'm just like, this is so pretty. Like, it's just something about seeing it in print.
I think too, it's like
framed.
you have like all these different, so you have 1,000 pictures, but you've chosen this one that you like the most, and you make the time and money to spend on printing and framing and whatever. Like that alone makes it special that someone chose that picture and deemed it worthy to spend all this time and money on, and now it's hanging up and it's beautiful.
Well, it's art. It's
Yeah.
art hanging at your home, but it's not just art. It's your family history. And I was reading an article about the one thing that can guarantee almost success in our kids is knowing their family history and everything that you were talking about, seeing your grandmother in those pictures and saying, I come from this family. And then seeing themselves large on the wall and say, I'm important to this family because they have me there, and every time they come in the morning or they come back from school and they see that image, and how are we helping, creating this sense of belonging to our kids? How are we creating this sense of history? It's not just I'm here, but there's a long history of my family, and here's my grandmother, my great grandparents. I think there's so much about that. That sense of belonging. It's so important. When I taught high school, I noticed that the kids that had more of a community, whether it was family or just like distant relatives taking care of them, they were a little bit more secure, more confident, that those kids that had nobody to rely on, and they had no idea where the parents came from or anything. So, and my daughter, I know I printed a big canvas of she and I, and she just loves it. She's like, Mommy, that's us.
That's cool.
And she comes and hugs me. She's like, can we hug like in the picture? I'm like, yeah.
I feel like there's something that you get from seeing your family in photos that people can't quite put their finger on, but it's something that everybody needs to get a certain sense of self. Like, one of the things that just crushes me all the time is like, I can look at people have this huge wall gallery of their family, or have these huge, beautiful customs and traditions, or things that they wear for certain celebrations. And that like, I love that. I think it's awesome. And I don't have access to that because there's not a lot of pictures of slaves, there's not a lot of pictures of, like, I can only go back so far. I can't go back generation to generation to generation. And then at some point you're hitting Africa, or, like the language is lost from where I come from, wherever I come from. And I'm kind of a mixture of a lot of stuff, but the language is gone. The traditions, I have no idea what my traditions were, but I feel like the people that do, like, I'm like, cherish that. Like, you don't know, you have no idea what you have. Like, there's a certain sense of self that comes from that. There's a sense of pride that comes from that I would die to have. Like, I've heard, there's so many times I've heard people say, like, if you go to Africa, there's some people in Africa, they can take a look at you and tell you exactly where you came from. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's fact, but I keep hearing it. But they can look at your facial features and they can tell exactly where you come from.
Wow. If
I could do that, like, I would probably be like a big emotional ball of mess, like, because I feel like there's a certain part of life where you're really trying to really figure out who you are, and that's a big, huge part of it that people just don't seem to think about until later.
Yeah. And I think some of, like what you were talking about earlier about getting to an age and having physical prints, it's getting past all that time where you're unsure, or where you're, you may not know how to get to that point of seeing that, to where it's like you got to get through that to be able to hit a point to be able to appreciate all of that, if that makes sense.
My wife's aunt, who's an artist, told her that everyone should take nudes of themselves in their 20s, because someday, no matter what, they'll look back and be like, okay, that's pretty awesome.
No,
I'm a middleman here. I'm just relaying what I'm
never take a nude of myself.
I think it's a pretty good idea, though. Don't you think so?
I think I would be okay with, like, like suggested nude, but like completely
Yeah.
nude. I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that. I don't want anybody to see that. I'm lights off.
You can keep it to yourself. I'm not saying like, just have them.
I get what you mean. I don't abide by it.
I
but
understand
get
the
what-
sentiment,
Yeah.
but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm like,
Dude, you're one for 4 in this group.
Hey man, I'm just telling you what
what somebody else
my
said.
aunt-in-law told my wife.
But to me, it's like, I mean, everybody should have a picture. And if you, and that's the thing that sometimes I get, people say, well, no longer 20, I have lines that start showing on my face. I have put on the pounds. So I don't want to do it because I'm not where I was before. And I'm
Right.
like, but you're right now is beautiful.
Exactly.
Let's celebrate that. It is.
And no one gets like fewer lines.
And I think that's why I
Exactly.
didn't like that sentiment that she just, because I'm just like, why just when you're 20? Like, I'm
okay.
33
Well, I don't think
and
she
I'm
said-
still beautiful.
She didn't mean like she didn't mean just. She meant like
Okay.
at least when you're
At
20,
least.
in your 20s,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I think knowing her, she meant just whenever you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hate photos of myself so much that I think from age 19 to age probably about 35, you can probably find maybe 5 photos.
Dang.
Let's get into
And what
why
happened?
you hate
What
photos
Yeah.
of
happened?
yourself.
Ooh,
Because
hi,
I
Jasmine.
told
What
about
Part of your
I
childhood.
told
Yeah.
about my
Did you get
childhood.
into photography?
Jess is a poster. I like it.
Yeah.
Yes, because I
I
talked
like it a
about
lot.
it. I was about 7 years
Yeah.
old when I heard that statement, and that made me hide. And then I hid again once from my wedding. I'm not in pictures again. I had a daughter 5 years into our marriage.
Yeah.
And I'm not in pictures with her for a whole year
Oh, wow.
because I hadn't lost the weight. I didn't have time to do my hair and makeup when I'm, having a career and having a daughter and all of that stuff. And I kept hiding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I saw pictures that I had taken, because I kept taking pictures of her by herself, her and my husband. And I looked at the way they were looking at the viewer, right? And I'm like, they're looking at me.
Okay.
And they're looking at me with such love in their eyes. And I wish I could see myself the way they see me. Because they see me as a beautiful, strong mom. They think, like, she thinks I'm the world to her. Just look at the sparkle in her eyes. Why can't I see that?
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is it? What led to you hiding from pictures since that age?
Let's take a deep
Yeah,
dive.
Jody, what-
Jody.
Oh no, I can
Why
probably
kept
point
you
to
from-
2 specific things that they are the reason why. One is I grew up always heavy. I've always been heavy, and never comfortable with my weight. And the other is, so here's a story. Here's a dad story. I think probably about 30, I started thinking back to stuff from when I was a kid. I was like, oh, one thing my dad said to me led me down one path. Negative or positive, I think it's for the positive, but it probably didn't seem it at the time. We were playing basketball. We beat the other team. We walked out, and one of the other players slammed himself on a couch and started kicking the couch and crying. And so my dad, I know this is hard to imagine, is a big dude. And he was always tougher on me when I was a kid. So when we walked out, as he hit the door, he turned around and he says, I better never see you do that shit ever, and pointed at the kid. Like never. And he was all, when it came to like coaching sports, he was like, if you win or lose, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't show off was his mantra. So that's probably a lot of it. Is that one?
You feel like taking a picture is showing off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't like being the center of attention. And Shawn's wife, Dale, and I have had this conversation about, because I'm a bigger dude, I have to put people at ease a lot more.
I understand that.
That's another thing. So it's probably that. Probably I grew up heavy and uncomfortable, and that thing about not showing off. See, it's simple. It's not sexy. It's not pretty. It's just...
But
Simple as sexy.
my
I agree.
thing would be, what do you want? Because that sounds like something that you live by what other people think you
Yeah.
should be. What like you have been spending a lot of time trying to fit, and what other box they
That's-
want to put you in.
I think when it comes to the making people comfortable, that's not a choice I get to have.
Okay, so a portrait is a good time to have a choice. and do that and be
Shawn is
preach
Always be closing. All right, it's like coffees for closers, man. All right, get her a cup. Let's go.
Closers get cookies.
Well, I have to credit a lot of that to Saray because Saray, I met her right after I started my business.
Okay.
So here's a tip. She crazy. She's just a little bit crazy.
She is laughing at that.
So-
yeah, she is. Yeah.
So I met her. Well, it was this. Was it this Knoxville
It was
breakfast or something?
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
like sponsored by the city or something like that.
Oh, one of those chamber
Yes.
things. Maybe?
Yeah.
it was
something like that.
something. I don't even remember. It was
And-
downtown.
I remember walking around trying to connect with people. It was one of those, my first time getting out trying to network, something like that. I just felt so awkward. And at some point I just sat down and was just like on my phone. Like I didn't know what else to do. And I mean, you got all these people, they got suits on or they represent different industries. And I didn't know what to do with all of that. So I think this was probably like a month or two into me actually starting my business. Like this was after I had gotten my business license and was just both feet in, don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
And then she comes and walks over to me and she's like, "Hi, my name's Saray. What's your name?" And I'm just, okay, I'm from Chicago, the South Side. We don't walk up
Oh
to
my
people
God.
and go, "Hi, what's
Oh
your
my God.
name?"
Oh my God.
That's not something we do. So I'm already looking at her like, what is going on? What does she want?
Yeah.
And so, we start talking and I find out that she's a photographer. At that point, I'm thinking the conversation's over because that's what I experienced from other photographers. Once they find out that you're a photographer, now all of a sudden you've turned into competition.
Okay.
And there's really not much we can say anymore.
Right.
But she didn't do that. She was, "Oh, what type of photography? And what? Let me see, and let me show you my work." And it was just, she was so excited, and I was like, I don't know what to do because I've never gotten this far in a conversation with a photographer. And she was so warm and she was so welcoming, and she actually was like, I want to talk to you. There's some things that you should look at. There's some things that I can show you. And we scheduled a lunch at Panera Bread. And I'm thinking it's going to be more of the same and just talking. And oh no, this was a totally different
God.
Saray.
We need recordings of this.
She she had like her twin was there. It was not
The evil twin.
She was. I sit down. I'm thinking it's going to be, "Hi, how you doing?" No, it was like, "Okay, how many clients do you want per week? What's your average sale? How much do you want to make a month? What do you?" She was so big. I scared the hell out of me.
I'm super into it. Yeah.
I always
love it.
consider myself a businesswoman with a camera. And I was like, I want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
If you do it the way everybody's doing it, and we are seeing like moms with a camera, not as businesswomen.
Yeah, man.
I call them blogger photographers.
And I mean,
It's
I call
pouring
them
outside.
blogger
It's
photographers.
monsoon.
Like not, I don't know.
but I mean, with every answer that I was giving her, like she would give me this look like wrong answer. Like it was just like, oh God,
Wow.
like how much money do you want to make a week? And I gave her like how much I made at my old job.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, like $400 a week. And the look was like the wrong answer. Why do you want to make that? That's all. I don't know.
She flips the table over. This is over.
Ma'am, I'm sorry to inform you. You must leave Panera for a few months.
And you've been banned from that Panera ever since.
But the thing is, it set me on this path to understand that photography was so much more than what I was initially stepping into it to being. And that's where a lot of the business that I do, it really came from Saray teaching me and mentoring me through that.
It's good that you have that. I heard a comedian talk about that the other day. They said, I got in comedy to do comedy. I didn't get into comedy to be a marketer, to be a brander, to be a communication specialist.
To make a living.
Yeah, to make a living.
Basically, that's what I'm saying, right?
Now you essentially have to have a small production company to be a stand-up comedian. And I think about that with anybody who owns their own business. Like, you're a photographer. You all have to learn about SEO. Like, you should never have to learn about SEO.
Yeah.
But you have to learn about SEO unless you want to pay somebody an
Like
ungodly...
10% of what we do is actually picking up a camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything else is marketing.
Everything else is all the
sales,
stuff you didn't think you had
production.
Invoicing is my big. I want to start choking people when it comes to getting paid. But
So it's easy. So I have them in front of me and I say, so awesome. And then they're so excited. I'm like, okay, will this be on your Visa, MasterCard, or Amex?
Yeah.
That's it.
I think my problem is with graphic design. We don't know what we don't know how many hours it'll be and all that. And there's like one client I do work for where it's a bunch of small work to where I just bill them the end of every month, and then it's at 45 days I have to start bugging them like, can you check with your accounting department and see when I'll get paid? I'm about to switch up to where if you go over your net time, I'm going to just start charging people interest and just send in a new invoice. Say, okay, it's been 15 days. Here's more money you owe me.
Could you, I don't know, call them and get their information that way?
Nope. I've tried everything.
You fax them?
Fax them, yeah. I'm going to send passenger pigeons next.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole nother.
I just want to say, like, I think that photography, I mean, it's not new news, but like, it's been so devalued in this economy. Like, I think it's great that you're both like just doing the work you're doing and charging appropriately for. I don't have no idea what you charge, no idea. But whatever it is, it's worth it because you both do beautiful work, and if you don't value your own work, no one's gonna do it. No one's gonna do it besides you, right? So, but like, thank you. There are a few folks in town who like do great work. They charge appropriately for it, and that kind of rises the whole what the old saying is.
And to me, that's what I believe. It's like everybody, if we could all help each other, get to a professional standard that everybody in the community expects. It doesn't matter if you go to me, if you go to him, if you go to her. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right.
At the end of the day, you go to each person because you're attracted to their brand or you feel more comfortable in their space.
Right.
But we charge what we should all charge.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
totally.
I had written that down about Instagram styles. Like, I think something that drives me nuts is on Fridays seeing photos of people staring at their $8 cup of coffee. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you never see the photos?
That seems like my coffee is $10, and I would never drink
on
an
the
$8
Friday,
garbage water. Probably.
I drink water.
I drink water. On the Friday introductions a lot. It's someone looking
$8 water
longingly at their cup of coffee or their mid laugh like that. And it's the same thing. And
I've got some deleting to do in my Instagram.
Yeah,
Now
my
you're gonna see
Instagram's
what my-
not that fun. It's not that fun.
Now
my
you'll see what
Instagram
my
feed.
portraits will be. Me mid laugh. Like I think everybody sees something on Instagram, and it's like if you have a style or you have a style or you have style. It's not that. It's I like this photo. Everybody's doing this photo of them looking at their coffee. So I need you to take a photo of me looking at my coffee. Now, I'm also comfortable enough to know you two be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Not in the least. But I see that a lot, which is why I bring it up because the devaluing, because it feels like some people feel like they have to get certain photos that they see everyone else taking. Does that make sense?
There are trends, right? There's always trends. Like,
I
mean,
agree.
in wedding photography especially, there's always these trends that go every 5-10 years. Back in the day, it was like that kind of weird green sky, like, kind of like weird colored tone sort of, and then I kind of went to like a washed out look. Now it's kind of washed out, and at some point it'll go back to this being oversaturated or whatever.
What is it called? Is it called milky blacks, where the contrast is not full on?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's
right,
like
right.
a shade, like a
right. It's like they fade the blacks really, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just, it all kind of goes in cycles. But I mean, I think that with Pinterest now, especially, like that kind of.
Yeah.
Everybody shares the same boards and stuff, and you kind of see the same pictures, and I think it's natural to want the same.
And
stuff.
and I do have clients that have specific needs and wants, and I'm like, look, this is why I charge. If you want me to do that, I can. It just never gets shared on my social media. I get paid.
Yeah.
So it's their vision. It's completely different from mine. I deliver it, but I'm like, just don't say who shot it.
Yeah. Don't tag me in those photos.
like, or they can tag me, but it's never going to be on my website. It's not going to be on my social media.
Right.
And there's that too, Now, the more I put on my social media what I want, the more I get that.
Okay.
And so to me, that's what's important. I don't put everything there. I only put the type of images that I want to produce more of.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I've got one of my friends, Hasib, is fussing at me about the work I want to do versus the work that I'm presenting.
Mm-hmm.
That exact same thing.
Oh boy, my Instagram's a real S show. It's like
I need to follow you. What's your Instagram?
It's it's Poynter Photo Co. It's Poynter. This is also a good plug for the podcast listeners. Poynter
Sponsor of this episode is Poynter Photo.
Poynter underscore.
I'm following you already.
Oh, okay, great.
It's got the
Yeah,
yellow.
you have everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like random. It's a lot of cats and dogs. Yeah, that's my cousin dog.
Wait,
dog
Poynter
cousin.
what?
It's Poynter. Yeah, it's a
okay.
weird spelling of Poynter. Poynter underscore photo.
Oh, yeah, cats.
That's our first foster cat group. That was Blip.
Oh, you ought to see the photo.
And he had like a little eye thing, so we had to put a little
the photo
code on.
he took of me that immediately went up
That's
on
like random,
Tinder.
right?
Yeah, that immediately
Yeah,
went
that's
up on
right.
Tinder, and I've gotten more comments on that
Yeah.
from single women.
Yeah, see, right?
Yeah.
The one with the dog is my favorite.
Oh my god.
Okay, so this would be a
Cats.
good point. So now Shawn gets to tell his history.
But yeah,
Yes.
well, first of all, I need to scrub my Instagram to like make it more professional. Like, so you know what I'm saying? Like, I like
That's
that.
on Tinder.
And you say you aren't photogenic. Seriously?
Well, when it's a good photographer.
Yeah. See the caption?
Yeah.
Yes,
I love it.
Wait, what is the caption say? I can't remember.
It says mountain meet molehill.
Oh, it's the cutest
about
little,
there's
the
this
tiniest kitten.
huge. There's this photo of Jody with the cutest little kitten.
I've gotten so many comments
I'll bet.
on dating sites from
Oh, it's the cutest little guy in the world. And a kitten.
You look so cuddly, Jody.
that. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Love it.
But yeah, you've been talking a while about going back and
Yeah,
cleaning
just
up.
kind of cleaning up. Making one personal and making one profesh.
So how did you get into photography, Shawn?
Well, Jody, thanks for asking. Great question.
I was wondering why we didn't ask him that.
I wrote it down.
Oh my god, I was hoping he'd forget and just skip over me and keep going and talk about Top
No.
Gun for an hour or whatever we're doing.
I haven't forgot about
that's our
Jasmine's
cat Roger.
YouTube channel. We're gonna
Oh, I know.
reinvestigate
Yeah,
that.
that's exciting.
She's looking no, but
I'll
for
give
right
you.
now.
Well,
Shawn.
my story is really quick and boring. So I studied photojournalism in college, got out, did a little traveling for internships in different cities across the land. Got a job in Illinois for a while at a paper, and really just like that. Moved to East Kentucky. I'm from like Central Kentucky or Western Kentucky, and so moved to East Kentucky on a whim, sort of, because I had a friend there. Started dating a girl. I was freelancing there. Started working for a nonprofit there and freelancing. And me and the girl moved to Knoxville, broke up. I kept freelancing and working for that company. So yeah, mostly I'm an editorial news event person. But a lot of that includes like a portrait. Every assignment basically is like also get a portrait, get a portrait of a person in front of his desk or behind his
Well, I was thinking about
car.
when we were talking earlier about sitting down and talking to people and seeing what they want out of their photo. I feel like a lot with Shawn and the editorial stuff is he may be taking a photo of a person that are seeing. It's the opposite. Like they're seeing a side of themselves that they didn't know was there. It's almost like the reverse of like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sometimes, but also a lot of times it's like the editor will say, "We need to picture this person with, with their whatever
In their
Chicken.
environment.
paper airplanes, or the chickens, or with their inner garden, or whatever the story is, So a lot of times I get my direction from above, and it goes up to down instead of going, source to photographer. So it's kind of a weird. They don't have much input sometimes.
But isn't there some where you kind of shoot just on your own? Like the kids playing football.
Yeah.
To where you're getting something out and you're telling a story.
Right. Yeah. And that's
Do
more
you
like.
ever have times when the editor is like, "Hey, we want this," and then you go to do it, and the person's like, "Yeah, I don't like that idea."
Oh, yeah, a lot. Yeah, all the time. Or more common, it's like, "Hey, here's the story. One picture. Like this is gonna be happening. Go get this picture," and this doesn't happen. And in journalism, you can't just like set it up or arrange it, ethically. So you just it's impossible a lot of times.
Well, it's like you covered for that. You cover the Pride Parade and the anti. What are they called?
Oh yeah,
It wasn't. It was whether they're anti.
It wasn't Pride. Was it Pride? Yeah,
it was
Pride and the
anti-LGBT.
Yeah, and the Nazis.
Yeah, they were there.
The now defunct Nazi group. So yeah, they covered both sides. Because there's like an affair happening with the leader and the second in command, and they found out and disbanded.
But you had to get shots of that, so it wasn't like you were setting that up. You had to actually figure out, like, how do I get this in the best possible way.
Yeah. But a lot of times within the assignment, there will kind of come up like pictures that you just kind of see and you like. So there's, I don't know, that seems boring. That's a boring story. God,
I don't think it's boring.
I was like rambling.
No, I don't think it's boring. I think it's like great it's like you're documenting history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some things are more historical than others, though. Like some are way down the list.
I think it's all how you look at it. Honestly, if you feel like you're boring, then maybe you are.
No, I think that my story is boring. My story is super boring. But I actually like the work. It's just like a boring. Talking about it is boring. Doing it's fun.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like
that's but here's the thing. You're only as boring as you make yourself out to be. I can make something sound so interesting that it's so like I could say, you know what? I made this elegant peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
On.
Oh my God, the jelly. Jelly. Let me tell you about this jelly. This was like sent from God jelly. Okay.
You turned into Barbara Streisand.
It was like the strawberry. It was strawberry jam because, and I mean, this strawberry. It was the jam. It was my jam. Okay,
it's like an ASMR video.
You could feel every seed in every bite. Like
you could taste the soil from where the seed grew.
Man, the peanut butter. Let me talk about the peanut butter. It was so creamy.
Oh, you could smell Jimmy Carter in that peanut butter.
And that ooey gooey goodness. And I'm talking about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I take it all back. I'm awesome. And fascinating.
Oh, my God. Well, I just think there's different ways. Like, I think there's things that you've already done having to come from that editorial background. Like, it's not like you went from shooting landscapes. Like, you actually had to figure out a story in a photo.
Yeah. Right.
As opposed to the other way around.
Yeah. And, there are a lot of skills I appreciate from that world, like talking to strangers. Like I can go up to anyone and be like, let me convince you to let me take your picture.
Right.
Which is a skill that, I don't know, is handy. So that's pretty cool. I don't always love it, but, I can usually do it. Usually.
So in that vein, I'm guessing it's going to be a no over here, but did it take you a while to get comfortable in talking to people and get them to do what you wanted them to do, or...
No.
I don't know how I predicted that.
No, I think I would consider myself more of like an introvert trained extrovert, so I could turn into an extrovert if I need to, but I do better on one-on-one.
Okay.
So one-on-one, and I don't like talking much. Like you said, like I don't like to be the center of attention. Mm-hmm. During my birthday parties growing up, I will hate having a birthday party because I was going to be in the center. And my sister's like, it's okay. She's like, you don't have to make a birthday list of presents. I can make it and I'll just get them, because she liked that. And I was just like, I do not want to be gifted anything. I don't want to be in the center. I don't want people singing or saying my name. So when clients come, they talk all the time. And if they don't talk, I give them more questions, just to answer. But I think by the time we're done, I know so much about them that I'm able to bring all that information into their photo shoot.
Okay.
So that it's easier for me to elicit any sort of emotion, put them at ease, remind them of that time when they said something that was funny or, something that they really like.
Okay.
And so, no, I don't think for me, it's harder to do crowds.
Okay.
But one-on-one, it comes.
Or what about families? Like if you have
families,
5 to 8
yeah,
people.
well, so families, this is the way that I have them. I have mom come first, and it depends on the age of the kids. So mom and daughters come first, And we use it as a bonding time. We do the hair and the makeup for an hour. And so we're just having a good time. Dad and the boys or kids under 3 join for the last 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because nobody else wants to be here that long. But the girls do. They enjoy it. And so I like, high school age kids because that's the age that I taught.
Okay.
And so I think I'm able to really build rapport with them. But then also with parents because I'm a mom now. And so it helps me navigate. Usually the girls want very different pictures than what the moms want.
Okay.
And so it's good to sometimes be able to listen to both and cater to both. Because not only, you get happy clients. Happy clients buy more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was not hard. I think the hardest part is always like just answering the phone. Which that's why I'm like, Jasmine, like that was so cool that you had training in that.
I know.
Because
She does not see it that way.
I'm like, I look at the phone and I'm like, oh, it doesn't say who it's coming from. I'm not answering it.
Yeah. I said you guys earlier, I always like pray for a marketer. Like, please be a robocall so I can hang up and block them.
Yeah.
Please, it's not the way to run a business probably.
Exactly. It's not because you don't answer.
I know,
Unless they leave a message.
Can't
And some
wait
people
to
don't
answer
leave
my
messages.
phone.
Man.
I've had a couple people
Envy-
fuss at me.
envy
They're
you.
like, I know you're a texter, but can we talk on the phone? I was like, no, I don't want to talk to you on the phone.
And I
just
don't
wanna-
mind if they give me a warning. Like, if you text
Yeah.
me and say, hey,
Which
Yeah.
is unreasonable, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel.
I know.
You can't ask your friends
It's
to.
unreasonable. I know.
I
It's
feel like
totally
that's
crazy.
how I feel too. I mean,
I hate texting. I'm a phone
I
talker.
love
I'm from
texting.
the
Oh my
old
gosh.
school.
Yeah.
Like if I want to talk to you, if
best.
like if I say, you know what, Jody, we are friends. We are real cool, which we are.
a big
But
if.
like
Yeah.
close friends, like
right? Big F.
I'm always wanting to either be at your house, hanging out, talking to you, or talking to you on the phone. That's what it was back in the day. When someone's like, hey, I'm just texting you to tell you I'm thinking about you. I'm looking at the text like, okay, you're thinking about me, but you can't call me. Like, come on now. That's a text. That's like, I feel like there's certain things that are like a
Shawn
old
is in
school
wild
way.
disagreement.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like this. Like, okay, my husband was trying to think of something to get his mom. Okay. So he was like, okay, a lot of times she really just wants money. So I'm going to just give her like a dinner and a gift card. And I'm like, that's all you're going to get? You're just going to throw a dinner and a gift card at her? Like,
Absolutely.
give
I
something
love that.
that
I do.
means something. Like, you can still do the dinner. You can still do the gift card. But have a little bit of meaning thrown in there. Like, write her a nice note about how you feel about how she's mothered you. And, you
Yeah.
know, he's like, yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. But for me, I'm like, come on. Like, I'm one of those sentimental people that want to go deeper and talk. And like, I'm not gonna text you and be like, hey, you're on my mind. Are you okay? I'm not gonna ask you if you're okay through a text. I'm gonna call you and be like, are you okay?
I hate saying I hit a point like a month ago where I sent like 6 different people messages just checking in on them. God, I don't want to go dark for a second, but there was about a week and a half period where 3 people that I went to high school with died. And like 2 of them were suicides. So it was more of like, and one of the guys, he has wife and kids, so I didn't want to impose upon his time, which is why I didn't call him.
Right.
And I was
Well, that's understandable.
I was just like, I just texted him. I was like, hey man, how? Because he was real close to one of the guys. I was like, hey man, how are you doing? He was like, well, getting through, but you know, all that. I was like, okay, just want to make sure you're okay. Like, and that's it. Like low impact, just.
I feel like text is for like things that only should take like a couple of seconds. Like, hey, you're on the way? Yes. That's a text.
Yeah.
That's a text conversation.
And for
but
jokes,
if you're
man,
like,
you know.
I'm going through something, and then you get like the emoji sad face. Like, don't
Yeah.
call me
No,
and ask me if
no,
I'm
I don't.
okay.
But look, like, for example, like friends and I had this like debate about what actors and musicians are national treasures, and so every once in a while it's like let's get a name and a question mark, like Bill Murray. That's an obvious one because it's yes, but like a name and a question mark. We go back and forth for a few minutes. It's like a joke, but like that's what text is for me. It's like a joke. You send a little GIF or whatever. You're done, right? That's valuable. You can like connect a little bit with friends over a little giggle.
Yeah. Well, I've got a friend in Jersey, a friend in Southern California, and a friend in Delaware, and we have a text thread going. That's the only way we would be able to keep
I
up
hate
with one
text
another.
threads.
Yeah.
That's the only way we share jokes and what we're eating.
Like 3 max.
Yeah.
I think that's a good number.
Yeah.
3 in a text.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But more than that, it's too much to keep up with.
It's like
Yeah.
this needs to be a phone call.
On the flip side, though, there's a lot of people, like even clients, where I'll be like, quick email or a phone call and be like, we need to meet in person. Like, I have to talk to you. I can't just figure this out how I'm going to design you something via an email.
Well, I feel like me and Saray do a lot of that. Like, we have to connect
Yeah.
in person. A lot of times when people contact me, they're like, hey, I'm interested in pictures. What are your prices? And the first thing I'm like, I could just say, hey, these are my prices and text back. But I very much want to get them on the phone and try to connect with them and see what their actual needs are before I start going into pricing. And I also want to tell them what my process is, what it is that I do. So when I tell them the pricing, they understand why the heck that's the pricing.
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
do that over a text.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, like, what is it like? Like, I have the same problem, but different. You know, mine's like much more basic than you guys are. But, like, how do you handle someone who, maybe you just answer this,
I mean,
just ask for a price
there's people that are like me that don't want to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
And so in that regard, I understand them. So,
Right.
for example, the last family client I had, we did everything over text and on Instagram chat. And so if it's somebody that I already know, like for example, she said, I've been following your work for 3 years. And I've seen my friends and frenemies have their pictures made. And
That's a good motivator, right?
yeah, and she said,
Yeah.
so I think it's finally time for me to do it. And so she said, what's the price? And I said, well, what do you want to do? Is this personal? Is this, is this for your business? Is this a family session? What is it? What is it that you want me to do for you? Because once I know, then I can quote you.
Right.
Right. And then she said, oh, well, she said, I think, she's like, I don't need headshots, but I really want to come with my 2 daughters. And I'm like, wonderful. How old are they? So she told me one is a teenager, one is a 7-year-old or something like that. I'm like, great. I'm like, so all our sessions include hair and makeup for you, for the girls. We have wardrobe. So most of the pictures that you've seen on Instagram are wardrobe that either I have put together or I have created just for that client. So of the images that you've seen there, which ones speak more to you? You know, and then she sent me some of the ones, and I was like, oh, I see. Okay, wonderful. So I do have those pieces in my wardrobe, and I will be more than happy to like customize them for you and your daughters. So that's when I say, okay, so I think I have enough information.
Right.
Now that I have it, I'm like, my session is $650, and that covers the hair and the makeup for one person up to 4. I said, however, I'm like, most of the time I get, because she said, I want my daughters photographed because I've seen other girls photographed. And I said, my 2019 promotion or whatever, it's like, I want to get moms in the studio because moms are not existing pictures because of my same, what I went through, right? We're older, we haven't lost the weight, whatever. We don't know how to do our hair and makeup. And so I said, for 2019, I'm halving the session if mom joins the session.
Oh.
So it's going to be $350. And then images are sold separately. You still have a $500 credit if you do $350. So would you like to do that? So, and then there's people that say, no, that's too much. And there's people that say, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about it.
Okay.
You know? And it just depends. I'm at a point where I have enough clients coming in that I think that if I were at the beginning, I felt more like saying, even if it was at a loss for my studio, because I still have to pay a makeup artist, have to pay for the studio, everything, right? And so, but now it's just like, this is what it is. And when you actually believe in it, people have no issue following suit. And then I say, and people are like, well, that's more than what I was expecting to spend once they know how much it will be to get everything. And then I was like, that's all right. When you're ready, you know how to reach me.
Yeah.
And then 6 months, a year, 2 years later, they come back because they really want it. And so I think that when people understand that it is that price because of the production that goes into it, they have less, when they understand the value of it, right? And then people that come referred by somebody else are so much easier. They already know the process.
Yeah, the bar's already been set.
Yeah, and so I have people that, they can, like, every time I see somebody come into the office that was at your studio, it's like they're on top of the world, like nothing, like they can do everything that, like, they come, and it's not just their hair and makeup, it's just the way they show up and the way they greet everybody and the way they tackle that day is so different. She's like, it's just the fact that they work with you at your studio. I can tell who's been at the studio when they come to the office. And so I was just like, yes, it's about all of that, creating that experience for mostly women, but I do see men too.
There you go, Jody.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm thinking.
Okay. So I do have a question to piggyback off of that.
Of course, yeah.
Do you want it? This may sound like a weird question.
No.
Do you want it to eventually be easier to where it's those people already have the bar set, or do you like a challenge to be like, I want to convince somebody?
I like challenges. Okay. I like challenges. So of course I love the easy.
Right.
It's great, but I love a good challenge.
Okay.
And even with me, I'm always trying to see what did I do in this session that I could do better next time.
Or it could be somebody not unlike that person that came in and was like, you know what, just do whatever. I don't know what I want.
And I've had people like that. More and more I get people like that. And then they're like, I just want you to create art with me. And I said, okay, well, then just bring nude underwear and I'll make everything else happen. I'll have flowers. I'll have wardrobe. I'll put you in porcelain slip. So, you give me carte blanche, I'm the happiest.
Okay.
But even within that, I say, okay, so which of the ones that are more creative are you attracted to? Are you more attracted to the darks, to the lights? Mm-hmm. And then based on that, I'll create whatever I have. Here I have wigs, I have shoulder jewelry, I have awesome. All the stuff that I can transform.
Right.
You give me a word, you give me an idea, and you let me do my thing. I'm happy there.
Okay.
What? What? I'm supposed to follow that?
Okay, here. Well, then I'll transition because there is a little bit of something in what you said. Do you both do boudoir? I know you kind of.
I've done some
boudoir shoots or anything.
She also does them.
Me and Saray are very much the same as we are very much different.
Okay,
which
exactly.
Probably does not make any sense the way I said it, but
no, I know.
I get it.
Well, a lot of people compare us, and a lot of people think that me and her are not friends. Because they think that we're like enemies.
That's
like
hilarious.
We will be the main competitors.
Yeah.
Right. Because the way we do our business is so much the same. And part of that reason is, hello, she's my mentor. She's the one that taught me how to run my business, because when she met me, I was a mess. So, we have a lot of the same products. We have a lot of the same ways of how we treat our clients and our experiences, but our styles are different. The way we go about our creative process is slightly different. So, but we even have the same stylist that we use. So
yes, we share our makeup artist.
Yeah, Kristen Casey Coleman, just in case.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She can sponsor the podcast if she'd like. But the end results are different.
The end results are different because our styles. You're dealing with two different people. You're gonna get two different styles.
Mm-hmm.
We see things differently. We could be photographing the same person in the same outfit, and the images are going to turn out differently.
But you're going to get a whole lot of flavor between us.
Like, it'd be fun to do the same.
Have you ever tried that to where you have the same person and you both tackle it?
I don't know.
We should.
We never
that
did.
would be neat.
Yeah.
Like, that would
because
be
I
would be so intimidating shooting next to
No, you do one morning
thing.
session, one afternoon session.
Yeah.
Do one in your studio, one in your studio. So you don't see the...
I would love it, but man, Saray's scary.
No, I'm not
And I don't mean it in a
scary.
bad way. She has this amazing energy that is so strong. And the feeling of trying to be equal that.
But you don't have to, because you are you, and that's what I like about your work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was telling you. You are doing similar work to mine, but yours looks so much more. There has this fashion edge to it, that even if I try, I can't get it.
So I think
not
that
my
might be the
style.
thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you know your style, you know it, right? Like you're there, and I feel like I'm still like
You're 75% there.
yeah, like
Yeah.
But it's
I
still
know
very
it, but I'm still
distinct.
figuring it out.
She doesn't
Yeah.
give herself enough credit for it. It's still very distinct. You can see an image,
Yeah, it
and you
is.
can tell that
For
it's
sure.
Jasmine's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I think that's true.
But I
what
mean,
I've seen.
I'm a huge fan of Saray. Like when somebody's like, "Oh, well, I think I'm gonna go to Saray," I'm like, "You are in good hands. Like she is awesome.
Yeah.
Let me know how that went." You know,
Well, I think
but
you're both great. I've seen your work. From what I've seen of your work, is both fantastic. So,
Yeah.
but different.
Yeah, exactly.
Just interesting,
And I
you
think
know?
that's what's important, you know? We can have similar processes, similar products, but at the end of the day, it's like what makes it distinct.
what
Right.
is it? What is it that you're attracted to? Or sometimes you can relate to the other person in a different
Exactly.
way.
Yeah.
Because she brings a different energy to her clients, and than I may bring to mine.
Right.
I also feel like just had a moment where I just lost my train of thought. Gosh, man, I'm
We're
getting
all
old.
there.
But like I also feel like with Saray, she just has this really crazy business. And you ever meet people and they seem to just do certain things just without effort?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to business, like that's Saray. Saray it just flows out of her.
Man.
And I mean, it could be
Must be
something
nice.
that has just like bothered me day in, day out for like a whole entire week. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about this. And she'll be like, well, just da-da-da-da-da-da. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, why the hell didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
And it's so
Nice.
easy. And it just flows from her. So she's an awesome person. And people, and I
thank
say
you.
that
You're so nice.
to make it clear, because still people think that me and her are enemies,
Yeah.
that we are not. We
I have
are
been tweeting out
awesome.
that you're enemies, so for like a long time.
You have what?
Oh, you're the guy.
I've been tweeting it out.
Yeah, he's been tweeting
Putting
it
it
out
out
that
there.
y'all are.
Yeah.
I think
But-
also, you know, what's funny is you bring like your whole life experience, not just your style, like your whole
Exactly.
life
Exactly.
into your photos, and like
Yeah.
every movie you've ever seen that you liked, or every like you know every video game you played that you liked, it all kind of folds into this weird.
Yes.
And so the way you see whatever captures your eye is kind of based on like
Right.
your whole life, right? I mean,
Right.
it's really complex.
Right.
Shut up. Kill you.
No, I just think I was very fortunate when I was in college studying design. That's something that clicked in my head
Mm-hmm.
that it didn't with a lot of other people. I was like, it's not about designing this magazine. I was like, I'm thinking about like architecture I saw or art I saw, or everything filters down exactly what you said in a more fumbling way. I'm saying what you said in a more fumbling way.
That's a,
So I'm going to go back. Boudoir shoots, are they harder to get somebody comfortable with themselves?
I was just gonna say, with my pet boudoir business, it's very hard to get these cats calmed down.
Oh, my God.
And
See, they
dressed
don't
up.
know your sarcasm.
Cats.
No, I caught that.
I mean,
I
well,
so
cats.
caught that.
I think even it was not
But you can
boudoir.
picture it, right? You can picture a
cats
pet
are the
boudoir.
thing.
Yes.
But I mean, to me, it's so funny because a lot of the times they're like, you know, they don't tell me that's the type of images they want.
Oh, really?
They're so nervous. And then they're like, well, yeah, I think I need a headshot, or yeah, maybe a good picture of me. And, you know, and then I'm like, oh, okay. So then I start showing them different things that I do.
Yeah.
Even if not all of that is on my social media. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I thought about, but I don't know. You know, I don't have the body for that. I just, you know, I don't have a tan. I don't know. And I'm like, you bring what you have. I have stuff here too that we can try. And once they get here, I mean, half of their wardrobe is that.
Okay.
That's
And
great.
I'm like,
That's
great.
great. Yeah.
You know, and I just think, I'm like, let's do this. But it's
Okay.
just putting them in a place where they feel comfortable enough to do it.
Okay.
And we have two girls here, you know, I'm like, you know, we're going to do what you want us to do.
Okay.
So it bends
It's almost like you push it back on them. Like,
Yeah.
we're only going to go to your comfortable
to your
comfort level.
comfort level. And you know, and I show them, you know, a lot of our training is on posing the body so that we give them the most flattering
Okay.
shape and silhouette, right? Because
Yeah.
just like a camera can give you 20 pounds, it can take 20 pounds off if you
Right.
know how to move
If you know how to
the angles.
do the right angles.
And so I show them one in one of the most flattering angles, and once they see that, they're like,
Yep.
All
I'm
in.
ready for
All
my
in.
close-up.
Because I look amazing in that picture, and I'm like, great.
That's like my
awesome.
favorite part of the photo shoot process. Like when they come in and they're all timid and they're like, okay, hopefully you get a good picture of me.
Right.
And then, you know, I always put them in the simplest outfit, the simplest makeup look first. Because that's going to be the one where they're not going to really let that wall down yet.
Okay.
And we're going to start off with the simple poses. But then when I showed them that photo, that's just like, that was the first really great photo. And they see how great they look before I even touch the photo. It's not even edited. And then they go, oh, this is how it's going.
Oh, you can do that.
And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm ready. And it's like the diva comes out. The further into the outfit you get, it's like they're ready. This just seeing them open up
Right.
is so fun. And it's, I don't know. It's like a high that I get from that. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I am so loving your diva come out, your goddess come out, walking your power, girl. That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about. I love it.
It's almost like you're matching their enthusiasm. Like you're like getting charged up from that. I can see that.
And I think I also come off a little crazy because in part of the process, if I really see a good photo, like I will hype them up.
Yeah.
Like we're at the club or something. Like I'll see a photo and I'll go, okay, let's do this pose, or let's do this facial expression, and I'm talking them through it, how to get it, and then when they're getting it just right, I'm like, yes, girl, yes, if you don't work that fast, and they just like, oh my God.
You need a sound machine to do the burr, 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 shoot little streamers.
So that's when they start to actually just, it's more than just, okay, let me get this pose right. They're starting to have fun.
Right.
They're starting to loosen up. And
so when they walk out of there, just imagine how they feel.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you have a hype man, like, just think about that for a second. Have a hype man for 2 hours, whatever. Like,
well, I used to
that'd
be
awesome.
a DJ, so it's
Oh
easy.
my
for
gosh.
Here we
me.
go.
Look, man, rub it in. It's like, oh,
She
I'm
was
a
cool
customer
cat. She
service
was a cool
expert.
cat,
I'm a
and,
DJ.
Yes,
God, come on,
I
that's
can
not-
turn
that
it
seems
off like a
unfair.
switch.
We
I
were,
can turn it
my
on and
God.
off.
spraying a cat on a corner while she was, I know.
That'd be like, oh, yeah, I used to be a Coke dealer. That helps me. That's a big help. No, nothing.
I used to DJ at a radio station,
Oh,
hip hop
man.
radio
Yeah,
station,
see?
DJ Baby J.
That's awesome.
I didn't know
Nice.
that about you. I
DJ
did. You
Baby
told me
J,
that. I
Baby J,
remember
yeah.
that now.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Oh, my gosh.
That's fun, especially when you get to like shoot shirt cannons at people.
Oh, we've got Big Brothers Big
That's my
Sisters
bucket
event.
list, man,
I was like,
honestly.
do we have it in our budget to get one of those T-shirt cannons? I was like, but my thing is, I'm gonna walk up this far away from you and go, just shoot you right in the chest. It's like, good job.
With head of cannon.
Yeah.
T-shirt in there.
But yeah, I think of all the things that I've done, like when you spoke about the customer service,
Yeah.
and then of course the DJing, and then of course anything else that I've done.
You bring
how it's
everything.
helped,
Yes.
how it's culminated into what I do now. And sometimes I think, man, I wonder how this is going to culminate into whatever I'm doing. I mean, like I said, I plan on doing photography forever,
Right.
but I plan on doing other things as well. So I wonder how things are going to culminate now that I'm doing right now into what I do down the line.
Okay. So in that vein, Shawn, you've been shooting forever, but you're kind of, I hate to say you're just now getting into portraiture because
Well, it's not true. I mean, like
It is-
studio portraiture.
You're making
for sure.
that more of a focus
Yeah.
of your business.
Right. For
So-
studio stuff, yeah.
Like, do you feel timid or scared, or is it all the experience from being a photographer for years you don't feel that way?
No, I don't feel timid or scared. I just feel like I kind of know what I don't know, which is really, it's kind of a hurdle. I feel like I can learn a lot of it, but a lot of it is like the soft skills, right? That they're hard for me. Not hard for me, but I mean, it will be a challenge. Like a camera, I know how it works. I know how to do some stuff like, the business stuff and just the inner client relationship stuff, getting it warmed up and like loosey-goosey. That's what I'm kind of trying to figure out right now the most.
You have a very pleasant personality,
Well,
and I
thank you.
think I think that will really convey that message to the client.
Mhm.
Just putting them at ease.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think
you don't
that's really
come
gonna
off as that
play a
creepy
very-
guy.
No.
Oh, that's good.
She's looking me directly in the eyes. She
Yeah.
says that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
This is
I don't know
She
why I
said-
don't want
This
photos
is-
of myself.
This
Yeah,
is what
she's
Jody
like,
has issues.
she's like, you don't come off as a creepy guy, and looks over at Jody.
I was trying to make sure I was talking
Neither
in the
of you
mic.
do, though.
No,
No.
no photos ever.
But yeah, it's like it's interesting. This it's so different. It's a different like just being out in the world and like being more reactionary, and then coming inside and having to, kind of like learn more about lighting and just posing and like.
Well, and
It's,
it's like the more flattering angles. You
Yeah.
know, lose 20 pounds, gain 20
Right,
pounds.
right.
Like learning those aspects. Yeah.
Yep. It's intense, man. It's like I'm not afraid of it, but it is
No,
it is
and you already
a hill.
You already have the aesthetic eye.
Yeah.
You already have the personality. So it's just little things you're gonna learn. Because we didn't. I mean, when I started, I didn't know all of it either.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
and even now, I keep. How can I challenge myself to learn something new?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to either put my clients at more ease or get them relax faster or get them to, get into different poses that are going to look great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I look at a picture on a magazine and I'm like, oh, so how are those people posing and how can I bring that into my studio?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's always constant learning.
Well, kind of like you were saying when you first started, you gave yourself 2 years. I'm kind of entering like a period of just like practicing with friends, like you were doing, just whoever I can get in the studio, and give
just
them free,
get them in and practice because
Yeah.
I mean,
Create a portfolio you love.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Well, another thing, he's also shooting medium format with film.
Wow.
large format.
Large
Large
format. Oh,
format.
Yeah, 4x5.
Wow.
Yeah,
so that's,
that's
another
also
hurdle.
intense.
Yes.
That's a different world. It's kind of killing me right now. So it's hard to focus.
So
It's hard to.
I'm interested to know. I'm going to ask a question.
Dun, dun,
Since you
dun.
went to school for it,
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of people that look at it and go, okay, if you went to school for photography, then you're a photographer. If you didn't go to school, then you're one of the moms that picked up a camera. How do you...
I don't know. I always say if you have a business card, you're a professional photographer. If you want to be like, if people are paying you to do it, you're a professional. Like it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. I mean, I don't know. I learned a lot in college in photography, but I learned a lot. I went to a school that was almost like a trade school to put you into a paper job, and then now paper jobs are, dying and they're obsolete basically. So that's like what I learned it's not a wide skill set probably. It's like a little technical, but mostly just like how to do assignments and do,
But to me, I think that's important because now, when was it? 2004, 2008, when I was in college, the courses were not, it was more technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if people actually want to make a business out of that, they don't know where
Right.
to start, what
Sure.
to do, because they have all the technical
Right.
aspects of it, but they don't know how, they don't know about networking, they don't know
Yeah.
about marketing, they don't know about sales, they
Right,
don't know
right.
about like how even...
Billing.
Nothing.
pricing,
Nothing, man.
Pricing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pricing.
I mean, it was like freelancing wasn't even an option when I was in college. We were taught nothing about business, nothing about clients. It was like you're gonna work in a paper or a magazine, and
And was it
Yo.
100% film?
back then it was
Yeah. I was going to
pre-digital.
say because digital didn't really start.
Yeah,
But even in college, for me, it was all film.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's because those early digitals, it looked like
Crap.
potato quality.
yeah,
Like,
but
was
it's
so
all to
bad.
say, like I think that I learned a lot technically, like the minimum stuff,
Yeah.
and then beyond that, I read a book about camera operations. Now you have YouTube, and now you can learn all that stuff on there. I learned probably half of my stuff from looking at magazines like National Geographic and finding these photographers I loved and like going through all their books and going through all their magazine articles. So like old people, new people, I think you learn a ton just looking at books and watching videos and
And also, not to take it negative, but also some of what you don't want to do.
yeah.
By looking at
Yes.
certain
Sure.
things and being like, you know what, that's not my thing. So
Yeah.
it's almost like creating bumpers for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
well, don't go this way, go this way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't want to do landscape. That's not my thing. So
Yeah.
learn that early.
And to me, like
Yeah.
one of the things that I was told early on was like, don't make a list of the things you like. If you're trying to find yourself, make a list of the things you don't like. It's so much easier to say, no, I don't like that, and to completely take it out of the picture and
Right.
then slowly weed out what is it that you don't like and then just focus on the one thing.
Yeah.
I
think
had
it's
to learn
important.
that. Yeah. There were so many things that I felt like I had to do in order for my business to survive. People want this, so I have to do this. And yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, yeah, that's not my lane. Like people go, hey,
Right.
that's not my lane. And they'll look at me like, what do you mean? Like you have a camera. Yeah, but that's not my lane. I don't do
Right.
that. And for me, that's weddings, and I've shot weddings before, but I hate it. And events, any events, like if somebody's like, hey, can you come and do, prom, or can you come and do baby shower? I'm like, yeah, no, that's not my lane.
Well, he shoots a lot of conferences.
Yeah, I love conferences. I love events. Like I'll shoot baby showers all day. I shot like 3 banquets for UT in the last 2 weeks. Like,
but see,
I
I
love
think
it.
that's
It's so
a skill.
Weird,
That's
you
a
know?
skill that I don't have and I don't care to acquire.
I know. I mean, you shouldn't if you don't want to. But, I
But
think,
there's people like you, and I
Yeah.
have another friend, Jocelyn. You know Jocelyn too, right? But she does mostly wedding and she does
Yeah.
events too. And I'm like, that's your thing and you're good at it.
I mean, I love shooting people. Like, like candid people.
Yes.
And they're always like just these kind of cool, weird pictures you can get at these random places. It's like you shoot the boring stuff and you get 1 or 2 frames for yourself, and it's like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Or maybe it's cool in black and white, or it's just for your, just for like,
Just for your own.
yeah. And it's kind of like easy. I mean, honestly. So, I wouldn't say I love doing it, but I actually think it's interesting to kind of find a good picture in a boring spot.
So what is your favorite thing? What do you love? What makes your soul smile?
Can I say pet boudoir again without being too
Cats with cats.
repetitive with cats? Mostly cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't. What makes my soul smile? I mean, just like not shooting for work. Honestly, when I'm out shooting for myself or see something kind of cool, and I'm kind of shooting for like something I'm going to show at some point.
Like those broad color shots you've been doing with
Yeah.
stuff. He's been doing some things where it's like a crazy bright color and then something on the top of it. Like
Yeah.
a hamburger.
Yeah,
or
like
something.
over
I'm not kidding. Like a
like
hamburger.
studio stuff, or like
Yeah.
even like I did a show about used tire shops in Knoxville. That was great. Like just kind of stuff I find interesting. That sounds dumb. Like, what do you like shooting? Just like things I like shooting. What makes you what gives you pleasure? Things I find pleasurable. That was the worst answer. But I think it's like things I'm not really getting paid for, mostly like things I'm shooting that.
Well, you do more
I'm
of
just
that.
interested in.
But that's the thing, like I don't carry my camera anywhere. Like, I had people that would expect, we invited you to the baby shower, we invited you to the, and I'm just like, I'm not working.
No.
Are you working? Like, you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
Can you give me like low advice here at this baby shower?
Yeah.
No, right?
Right.
So I don't carry my camera anywhere. Like, it comes up if you're paying. I'm
Exactly.
like, and so
Exactly.
in that regard, I love what I do, every single shoot that I do, because it's exactly what I want to be doing. But I don't bring my camera anywhere anymore. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes it's kind of a disservice because I used to travel a lot. And now that I travel, I'm like, I don't have that many pictures because it's my job. And if it's not my job, and I have pictures that I've taken and I have not even done anything with them because they were not paid work.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't even touch them.
Huh.
And doesn't matter if they're amazing, they're beautiful, they work with a model somewhere. I'm not going to even open the files because it's work. And I
Yeah.
only get, and a lot of the joy that I get is, working with people that have never seen themselves that way. And sometimes with models, they're used to looking fabulous.
Right.
Regular people like you and I, we don't look fabulous all the time. And so when I actually show them that,
Sean's calling BS on that one.
Backhanded.
hey, I'm in work mode, so I'm looking fabulous today.
And I'm over here
but
looking like
sometimes
a bum.
I'm in
Okay. I'm wearing
PJs,
shorts. We-
right? PJs
Yeah,
or whatever.
absolutely.
And so I'm like, or I'm right after my daughter, and
Right.
so those are the people, like, when I show them an image that they're going to absolutely love, something that they've never seen before because they never considered themselves model material, but I think they are.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
It's-
great.
You work with kids a lot. Do you work with kids a lot?
I do, but
Is that-
it's
I
not
mean,
my
is-
favorite.
So that's why you don't see it on her social media.
Is that like that's another one. Is that a skill you had to learn to be able to? But you all both are mothers, so
Right.
that may be a dumb question. But you know what I mean. Like, do you feel like that's something that's had to
For
switch
kids
in your brain?
for
like,
kids, okay, so here's my issue with kids, and I need to let all the moms
here
know
we go.
this.
We're gonna mark this in case you have
Stop
to cut it out later.
trying to direct your kids while I'm trying to direct your kids. They're listening to two people and it's confusing.
Yeah.
And because you are obviously the authority in their lives right now, but I'm sitting here trying to give them direction. They don't know which one to do, like which one to
Right.
go with, especially when they're younger.
Right.
So that is if it's anything with kids, that is the pet peeve when I'm just like, okay, do this, and the mom is like, smile, just flip your hair, and I'm like, you gonna let me do this, or you want to have a camera?
Yeah.
You know, I can't stand that. I like working with probably 8 and up if I do have kids.
Okay.
My favorite sweet spot for kids though is more like the tween stage and up, because that's when they're really starting to come into their own.
Really?
And you're starting to see what type of person they may be growing into. There's like a flowering thing especially with girls that's happening.
Okay.
That is really awesome to see and watch. Now with younger kids, you kind of sometimes they're really cool, but sometimes you just have to just let them run and just try to catch them where you can.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll do. You know, while the parent, the mom is trying to direct, sit down, sweetie, sit down and cross your leg. This dude is 3 years old. He's not going to do that. I'm just going to have to just catch him. And when he feels like sitting down, I'm going to catch him while he's sitting down. You just got to sit down and let me do my work. So I would say, obviously, as you can tell, kids are probably not my favorite, but I definitely know how I like to work with them.
Okay.
But everybody would tell you, Jasmine don't like kids. I didn't like my own kid until he was 5 years old.
Oh my God.
But I'm really, really good with them. I'm really, really good with them. Really good.
It's so funny.
Oh my God. How about you?
Well, I don't think for the longest time I didn't have families. Just because of the kids. I didn't know what to do with them. I taught high school, so that was the age that I was very comfortable with, but anything younger than that, I didn't feel comfortable. And so one of the times I kept getting clients saying, you've done my headshots, and I love how, but I don't look the same when I go to get my family pictures done, and you need to do my family pictures because I don't want to go to somewhere else. And I was just like, okay. So what I did, I did a show and tell at my daughter's school, and she was 3. And so that was the youngest I've ever photographed. Wow. And I said, the teacher was like, any parents that want to come and do a show and tell? And I was like, well, if I'm going to do a show and tell, I'm going to show you what I do. Mm-hmm. And so I brought some outfits and like crowns for the girls and things like that. And a little backdrop that I painted that was like small, so they would not terrify with that, right? One light. And it's so funny because my daughter's she's grown up with me, so she knows the drill, right? And the other kids didn't. And so I'm there and I don't know what to do. And so one girl volunteers to go first. And I'm like, okay, so what are you going to wear? And so she picks something up, she wears it. And she's like, well, this doesn't fit me. It's not the right size. And then she sits there and she's like, and she doesn't know what to do. She wants to do her own thing. She's 3. I mean, of course.
Right.
And I'm freaking out, right? On the inside. And so Sophia can sense it because she's like the awesome kid that she is. And she comes and she's like, let me show you how it's done. And she goes, picks up something. She's like, and then you lift your hand so my mom can make it fit your size. And so I put the clamps on it. She puts the crown and she sits on the little chair and she's like this. And she's like, and you don't make a cheese smile, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's what she tells
What's she call it?
A cheese
smile. She's there.
Oh,
and so, and every single kid came and did the same thing.
Whoa.
And I was like, so I just need to get to their level. So now if they're on the floor, I'm on the floor with them.
Yeah.
And I let them do their thing. I get to, just like with an adult client. So what do you like? What's your favorite color? Mm-hmm. Really? Oh, so what's your favorite pony name? Wonderful. Is that the pink one or the purple one? Right? And you get to, and they tell you all these things. And when they know that you're actually interested in them, they'll let you. They sit there.
Huh.
Exactly.
And you take the picture.
You gotta.
But it takes time. You let them do their thing, and and the mom can. I mean, I know. I'm a mom. If I see her moving, I feel like she's jumping off the walls.
Right.
Everybody else doesn't see that, but I see it because I'm the mom and I freak out. Right? And I think that's what other moms are seeing. And so what I do is I have the kids do their hair and makeup first. Just pretend.
Yeah.
But I get them, I start photographing them while mom is in hair and makeup. So I have 1 whole hour with that kid to choose what they want to wear, to tell me, oh, can I be over here? Yes, you can be over there. May not be a picture I'm going to ever show mom because it was not the right light. It was not, the backdrop didn't match with what they were wearing.
Yeah.
But if I let them do their thing, eventually they come around and they let me do mine.
Exactly.
It's almost like making them feel more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It comes down to that. Whether they're adults or they're kids is the same thing. Now, I still have to figure that out with cats and dogs. But
You'll learn.
yeah.
You're good there.
She's right. You have to let them get on their level. Like I had a baby. It's like 1 year old.
Whoa.
And like I said, listen, I'm honest. I'm not that fond of kids. But at the same time, like when they came in, first in the consultation, I asked her, when are the nap times? So we can schedule the shoot around that
smart.
time. And we scheduled it at a time, and I mean like clockwork. When that nap time came around, she wasn't having it. She was done with photos, but I was already done.
Yeah.
I was pretty much getting to the end of my shoot, and I was expecting it because that's what we talked about. But I mean, before then, while her mom was in hair and makeup, I sat down on the floor and played games with her. I had this girl chuckling and smiling, and we were running back and forth. I was so tired at the end of that shoot, but we were running back and forth through the studio, and it was fun. So by the time it came to getting to the actual photo shoot, once the hair and makeup was done, she was smiling at me. She knows me now. She does it. I think it's this thing where you have to get them used to you, and sometimes you even have to get them used to this camera, because when you put the camera up, there's this big black thing all of a sudden that got in front of your face, and that can scare them sometimes too. So I mean, we did some things with the camera while we were playing. I was just letting her look and play with things, and it was cool. But you have to let the photographer and the kids get to know each other. You can't just bring your kids in and think that they're going to sit all pretty like all the photos you saw on Pinterest, and it's not going to work. You got to let us do our thing. You got to let them do their thing.
Look on awkwardfamilyphotos.com and you'll see how that can break bad really quick.
Yeah.
And then some of the parents that hired me later on, because I printed their images and I brought them to the school, and there was this particular boy, and the mom was like, I've never, ever even seen the color of his eyes in a picture because he's smiling like this.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, and when I first saw him, I was like, who's that kid? And then I was like, that's mine. And then they came for their photo shoot like almost a year later. And I was just like, remember how we did it in your classroom? And he's like, you're like a kid whisperer. That kid sat there, did his thing, did a beautiful smile without closing his eyes. And every single picture that they got, is like, I love them. And she's like, and then his grandparents said, we're going to do some family pictures, outdoors or whatever. And I was trying to channel in your voice. She was like, it didn't work. He's like, the kid went back to doing his thing.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, a lot of times it's just also how you talk to, like, I get down to their level and I talk to them, expecting them to listen and to do the thing. I'm not like, oh, well, maybe if you want to, I don't know. I'm like, this is what we're going to do.
I also wonder if it's just a whole thing, like, they're used to the mom and dad. They're used to how they're going to.
Sophia does the same with me.
That's true. Yeah.
She doesn't listen to me. She listens to
you try to. I try to do some little easy voice with my son. He's going to, yeah, right, mom. But anybody else that he's like not familiar with, he's going to try to figure them out first.
Yeah.
You have a specific amount of time. And my son is pretty chill. Like, he's like the easiest kid in the world. But yeah, he's going to spend some time figuring out. And then after a while, once he figures out that you're okay, then he's going to start talking to you about Minecraft and video games all day. He's going to go back to normal. So I think that's just mom and dad's. You're not going to get me to do that.
That needs to be a new line item in there. Like, you can't talk to your kids while we're there.
Yeah.
Like,
In your contract.
I'm trying to think how to word this. With how business is now and how it's so social media driven, do you all try to seek out like ambassadors for your work? Like did you do a shoot with Jack from Knoxville Weekend?
I did.
Where she had the long...
She looked like Ariana
Grande.
Yeah.
So are there times where you'll actually seek out somebody who you know will be a good ambassador for your work? Or is it just whoever comes?
Really,
or do you train them to how to be a good ambassador for your work?
I'm not really thinking about them being an ambassador. Sometimes I just see you and I'm like, I have to get a photo of you. Okay. Like we have to do something together. Like there's just something about a person that I'll fall in love with, whether it's their hair, their eyes, their personality, like their body type, or just something that I see. Mm-hmm. Like I'm never really thinking, I want you to do this and tell all your friends because you have this audience and you're a social media influencer or whatever the case may be. I met her through Aaron White.
Okay.
And he wanted to do photos. And he did another photo shoot with her in a dress. And I saw the dress posted online with her. She had the same ponytail. It was a little lighter this time. Mm-hmm. And I saw the dress and I was like, oh my God, what I would do with that dress.
Because it's like big, thick lines.
It was like this beautiful black and white striped dress. Yeah. It was just gorgeous. And I was like, oh my God. And the pictures that they had taken in those photos, I was like, y'all didn't work that dress like I would have worked that dress. Yeah. I need to work that dress. Give me that dress. So he was like, okay. So for her, it was the dress. It was, I fell in love with the dress and she was the one that happened to be wearing it. So that's how he hooked us up both together, and then I worked the hell out of that dress.
Oh yeah.
And then we also did some other looks for her and for me. Mm-hmm. And that's because I love her smile. Like she always seems, in the photo shoot, she seems like her smile kind of bothers her just a little bit. But I was like, that's one of the best things about you is your smile. Always smiling and everything. Yes. So I think that's what I loved about her when we took it further than just the dress.
Although I think your photos, that's the most attitude I've seen out of her, because she's usually a little bubbly.
With the dress?
Yeah.
Well, man, I had her working out. I mean, because I guess that's where that fashion.
That's where that edge that she gets her.
I like motion and action in some things. If I see something that looks like it's going to give me some movement, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to point the fan at you, and we're going to probably do like 50 times of you throwing the dress a certain way and somebody else throwing your hair the other way. And I mean, by the time we were done with that dress, Aaron and her were just kind of worn out because we throwing fabric everywhere.
I was going to see if I could find it real quick to show Shawn.
But it was
it was hilarious.
It was awesome though. I mean, we had a good time. But that was how we got together. I saw the dress and I was like, y'all didn't work that dress like I would have worked it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Who's that?
That's Jack from Knoxville Weekend.
Huh.
That's why I say the attitude, because it seems a little more edgy, to your point.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Wow.
Than
awesome.
I've ever seen her before. Like, because she's normally bubbly, smiley. Yeah, that's normal. Mm-hmm. That's normal.
Oh yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Wow.
And she said she loves Ariana Grande, so she was like, I want to feel like Ariana Grande. I'm like,
cool.
Okay, we gonna grande the hell out of this dress.
Oh but for the most part, do you try to train people on how to be an ambassador for you, or do you just let it speak?
What we were talking about earlier about all the different experiences you've had before, and me being a teacher before,
right?
I think that I train my clients, not just to. I mean, you can tell like a lot of my clients are headshot clients, and they're, for example, are the realtors. And you can tell which 3 realtors from an office in a group shot have been to me.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Because they know how to pose. And I think that I approach a lot of the stuff that I do through teaching.
Okay.
And so in that regard, I do not seek people that I think are going to be big influencers. To me, the people that actually refer to me the most is the people that never thought they could get a good picture, and they actually got one, and they tell everybody.
Exactly.
So I don't need to have like somebody that already, that's what I was thinking about models before. I'm like, they're used to looking amazing. They used to getting beautiful pictures all the time. One more beautiful picture, they're like, oh, thanks.
Right.
Not like somebody who's never gotten one, and they're like, oh my goodness, you need to go see Saray because she did this for me. Right? And so for my more creative work, because I started like with Jasmine was saying, you know, sometimes people say, well, if you didn't go to school for photography, they don't consider you a photographer or an artist. So I started to get my accreditation through a program. And so for that, I started sourcing special clients for more creative work. And so I will go to a dance school and say, if you let me, you know, if you give me your dancing skills and I put my creative work, and we're going to create art together.
Yeah.
So I will give them a gift card to my studio that will cover the session fee, will cover a couple of images, because I don't want them to think that they have to spend money.
Right.
But once they see the image, and sometimes I got 8 amazing images, sometimes I got 15. It just depended on what we were able to create that time. And then I say, if you want to buy more, you can, but you don't have to.
Right.
Because the purpose of this was for me to get my accreditation, for me to get, you know, to show that I am somehow have some sort of credentials to me in this photography business.
And she just blossomed after that. Like, one of the biggest things that I love about being Saray's friend is I've gotten to watch her creatively grow. Like, when I first met her, her portraits were stunning when I met her.
Right.
But it was like, you know, normal portraits. They were just better than a lot of other people's portraits. But when she started really getting creative and started playing with different ideas, especially with the dancers and everything, like, I was like, I don't know what you are doing. I don't know what you're dreaming about, but it is working. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Like, you are leveling up so much that, like, when she releases something, I'm like, I gotta see. I know this gonna be good. Like, it's so beautiful. Cool. And watching her get those awards, she's like, I got this, and I'm like, girl, I am not surprised, because that's where I see it going.
Okay.
So I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, it's fun. To me, it's like you said, I love a challenge.
Right.
So if the first time I got a couple of, you know, like got one in the top 20, next time I want more.
Yeah.
And next time I want more. and it's a competition with me.
Yeah.
It's never a competition with anybody else. It's like, how can I outdo myself next time? And so I'm always
submitting for awards is almost like more of a boost to, like, I'm doing this right.
No, not really. It's for me, like, to say I got the accreditation. That's what I did it for.
Okay.
Like, this time it was the icing on the cake that in my teen and senior, which again is my favorite age to photograph, I got first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth place. And
they were like, the next one is Saray Taylor-Roman, and then the next one is Saray Taylor-Roman. And I'm just like, she got fifth place. She got.
I thought you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I skipped 7, and then I did 8th again, and then I did 10. I did, like, I don't know. It's like 10 out of top 20.
Whoa.
She was amazing. Like, I was watching it while they were announcing it, and I'm just sitting here like,
where is this?
What?
This is with the Portrait Masters accreditation and whatever. So, I mean, I wanted just to get to my grandmasters, right? You get the associates level, you get the masters, and then you get the grandmasters. So my job, I'm like, I just want to get the grandmasters, say I'm a grandmasters photographer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody will care. That was the icing on the cake for sure.
Man. That's awesome.
She rocked that whole category, man. It was awesome. I was like, that's my friend. That's my friend right there.
But then that's the thing. She didn't want to submit, and when she submitted, she was number 2 in the category.
Oh my gosh.
That was 28 2017.
2017, and I was like,
2017.
Jasmine, you need to submit this, but no, I don't know about that. And I'm like, you need to submit this. It's amazing. And she,
But no, what was funny?
That's awesome.
What was funny is I didn't even know that I had did anything.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't paying it. I submitted it and pretty much forgot about it.
Yeah.
And it was this photo of a woman breastfeeding.
and
It was a
stunning.
it wasn't the
That's
photo
stunning.
wasn't even supposed to happen. Like
Yeah.
the baby wasn't even supposed to be a part of the photo shoot. The baby got hungry in the middle of the photo shoot, and I just decided to shoot while she was breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And I told her to put the dress on backwards so we could see her
Yeah.
breastfeed. So anyway, I submit the photo, and then all of a sudden later on, Saray is like, "You got second place. You got," and I'm like, "What is she talking about?" Like I was at the mall, and I was like, "What second place and what? I haven't done anything." So I drive over here, like, "What are you talking about?" She's got it pulled up on her screen.
That's amazing.
And I look at it, and
That's so
it
cool.
said that I got second place in
family.
contemporary portrait.
Oh, wow.
contemporary, yeah.
And so I'm looking, and this was second place for that
Whole category.
That category out of
Yeah.
like thousands of people internationally
Oh,
that
wow.
entered. And it was my first time entering in anything, and I'm just looking at it, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And
Yeah.
she's looking at me like, "That's all you gonna say?"
Drinking your orange Julius, like,
I
yeah,
didn't-
it's fine.
I didn't know how to respond to it. Like it's like, okay, now I've won something, but now what? I don't know what to
Yeah.
do with that. So yeah, I'm one of those weird people that just kind of react in weird emotional ways.
Yeah, well, I
I'm with you.
Like
That's
to
awesome.
me, it was
Yeah.
just like, okay, yeah, and it just got to the point where I'm like, I don't like, I want to hide because now it's like I have second and third and fourth and fifth.
Oh my God.
Like, do not look at me. I'm like,
That's
So-
fantastic, though.
And
That's so cool.
I'm the same
It was so
way.
fun.
Like I can't. Second Harvest, not this year, but last year, they have this dinner where they invite all the volunteers and stuff. And my contact kept going, "You're going to come, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And then they started handing out awards, and they're like, "And Volunteer of the Year award goes to Jody." And I'm standing next to her going, "You mother. Why are you mother? I don't want to be in front of all these mother. You mother." And she was like, I was like, she said, "If I would have told you, would you have come?" I was like, "Hell no, I wouldn't have come. You would have had to give me." She was like, "That's why I didn't tell you." So I'm with you. I don't like it. I don't like attention.
no, and so, but then right now that my husband's joined, he's like, we need to send this to every media outlet. And
Right.
I'm like, I don't know about that. So he wrote a press release. He's got stuff
Yeah.
to send. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
cool.
just wait. Just
God.
You should send it.
Oh,
Send
yeah.
it.
Okay,
That's awesome.
You got to tell us YouTube channel. What was your?
Yeah.
Is it still available? Does it have anything to do with you being a DJ?
No.
Oh, boo.
So yes, it's still up. It used to be called Thoughts Freed, but now I changed the name because I plan on actually taking all the videos down that are up if I haven't already. I can't remember if I deleted all the videos yet, but
You can make them private too.
I plan on taking most of the videos down if I haven't done already and starting from scratch and turning it to something totally different. So it's now called Javon Renee, just Javon Renee.
Okay.
So there's Javon Renee Portraits, which is my business, and then there's JavonRenee.com.
Okay.
And that's where I actually am starting to mentor other photographers.
Okay.
And I like to talk about business and organization and, just how to make things just slightly easier and changing your mindset. I feel like I spent a lot of time listening to people like Gary Vee
Yeah.
or Sue Bryce or even Saray, and I would look at them and go, man, I love listening to y'all, but y'all are in a space where it feels like y'all made it, and I love what y'all are saying is helping me, but it's hard for me to relate because y'all are there. For Gary Vee and Sue Bryce and Malcolm MJ Harris, it's like y'all are there and I'm
Seth
still
Godin,
in this up
yeah.
and down. So I was like, I wish there was somebody that I could find where it seems like they're still in the
Right.
grit with me.
Right.
Like, yeah, I get you, but this is how we're gonna do it. And so I felt like, I want to start something where people can feel like they can talk to somebody or get information from somebody that not only has been through it, but is still very much
Grinding,
working
still
to
grinding.
change that mindset, working
Yeah.
to find that work-life balance and saying, okay, this is how I'm doing it. This is what I'm going through. This is, tell me what, things
Yeah.
like that. So that's what I'm
Okay.
changing it to. But originally it was just, for some reason, I think I'm a funny person and I'm not. And it was supposed to be where I would put my poetry videos. I did a lot
Okay.
of poetry and I did a lot of singing.
That's cool.
So I had a couple of poetry and singing videos on there.
Nice.
And then I also had some funny videos where I was making fun of what people do, things that people do on social media,
Oh my
things that
gosh.
people do, dumb things not to get your girlfriend for Valentine's Day. Like I was just making like
I can't wait to see this.
He's
I was-
hoping you haven't deleted.
Oh my God.
You shouldn't delete it. You know what you can do? You can just like make them unsearchable, but don't delete them. I think that's great.
Yeah, you can make them private.
Yeah.
my son somehow discovered me and he was like, Mom, when you gonna load up another YouTube video? I'm like, when you see my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I think I got to this point where I just kind of grew out of it because it started out as I moved up here when I was around 22.
Yeah.
And once I got here, that Jasmine had to be put on the shelf because all of a sudden it was like, I'm here. I had a stepdaughter. I had a son. it was like my whole life was just flipped, turned upside down. Like it was, I didn't feel like I could follow whatever dream I had because I was
Right.
too busy trying to step into this mother role and this wife role. And then I was angry all the time and I could not figure out why I was angry like I would wake up like they better not get on my nerves today. Like it was like that every time I woke up. So I was like, why am I angry? And it finally hit me. It's because you're not doing anything for yourself.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything that you like. Every minute of your life is working or trying to be a mom or trying to be a wife. You have nothing that is for you. So then it was like, okay, well, what do I like? Let's get back to that. Well, I liked singing. I liked acting. I liked poetry. I liked anything in the creative field.
Right.
Anything under that umbrella I love. So that's why I started the YouTube channel. And I got to a point where I just kind of grew out of that.
Mhm.
And now I'm in photography and I love that. And that's the type of woman that I like to photograph is women who feel like they have lost themselves in whatever role that they're trying to be for society or for their marriage or for whatever. I feel like we spend a lot of time telling people, but women especially, that they have to fit in this box in order to live a good life. And we don't take into account what they may have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We think once they got married, oh, now you have to focus on being a good wife.
Yeah.
It's not about you anymore. Oh, you don't have time to chase that dream because you got kids. It's all about your kids. And we fall into that. And we're never told that we can actually strive for both. I am working as hard as I can for my dream. And I'm going to be there for my kid. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a mama bear. I'm a lioness when it comes to my kid. But I want that woman to come in and rediscover who she actually is to her core and do that with a portrait. And I want that to be the catalyst for her to move forward and do all the things she wants to do and be a great mom and be a great wife or be a badass businesswoman. That's my sweet spot when it comes to photography. Oh,
We need just transcribe that and put that on your website. No,
Yeah.
no, we need to video it and just put that's going to be on your
Yes.
YouTube channel.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I like that because I went through it. So y'all got really quiet after that.
I'm just
Think
taking
about it,
all
man.
in.
We're like,
That's
yes.
great. No, that's beautiful.
Before we close up, does anybody have any questions for one another? No? Don't make this super awkward. Make it in with like,
So the cat fostering,
Yeah.
what's the process like?
The important questions. I'm sorry,
Right.
what was it again?
So,
cat fostering.
Yeah.
how do you get started? You just show up and say, I want to foster?
Yeah, sort of. You just kind of give them a call, or there's a team there at Young Williams, and they're great.
Okay.
And they just will give you a little questionnaire or whatever, and it's like if you seem reasonable, they'll let you do it. And some cats are older, and they take very little. They seem to be socialized. And some, like, I just have like little like eye problem and a little cough, so we give them a little medicine. We feed them, and some are like super tiny, like little tiny ones, and some are bigger ones, and some are shy, and some are like aggressively want to be on you all the time. It's great. It's a mixed bag. And so right now through June, I think it is, it's kitten season, and they're just like overrun with kittens, and they need space. So I recommend it. Awesome. It's a way to get like
important question.
Thank you. You know, yes, that's important question.
It's like a Netflix for kittens.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here to help.
Thank you all for doing this.
Thank you.